quality alert. How a thick layer of smoke settling over Saskatoon is making it hard to breathe. Emergency advisory, Prince Albert National Park on notice. And what SGI is doing to help protect homes in northern Saskatchewan.
This is CTV News with Chantel Saunders.
Good evening. We begin tonight with the poor air quality in the Saskatoon area. A thick layer of smoke settling over the city. Hallie Matta reports on its impact and how long it's expected to linger.
On an average summer day, this field would be full of kids enjoying summer soccer, but the air quality in Saskatoon has thrown a wrench in those plans.
We've been kind of dealing with the smoke on and off. At the end of the season, we had a little bit of some smoke delays with games at the end of our league, so we have had to deal with it a little bit this summer.
Due to wildfire smoke wafting in from northern Saskatchewan, lots of summer programming had to be canceled for the day.
We know it's disappointing for the kids who want to come out that day, but yeah, logistically, we have to kind of keep an eye on it, kind of hour to hour, and then we have to make the call if it's going to be on or not that day.
Many in the Saskatoon area have had to alter their plans due to the smoke. Environment and Climate Change Canada issuing a health warning advising residents to stay inside as much as possible.
What's in the smoke that's creating that health risk is what we call fine particles. PM 2.5 is what we measure. It poses the main health risk to people from wildfire smoke. The symptoms from that smoke, things like headaches, cough, that irritation in your sinuses.
Climate Haga added that while certain weather conditions can help mitigate the smoke, there's not much that can be done other than wait for it to pass.
A lot of rain, you can flush it out a little bit, but often you will get worse air quality as that smoke is kind of pulled out. So you can kind of clear it up a little bit, but it is a plume of smoke. It is in the air and it will kind of last and travel around. It's not going to just magically disappear.
While the smoky conditions create challenges for many, Digneen reminds people that those in northern communities have been facing a greater issue for months.
There's a reason why there's the smoke in the air. There's lots of fires going around Saskatchewan, so we really feel for anybody who's affected by those forest fires.
The smoke is expected to linger in and around Saskatoon for the next 24 hours, and folks are advised to limit their time outside as much as possible. Hallie Mandrick, CTV News, Saskatoon.
A wildfire emergency advisory was issued last night for Prince Albert National Park. Jasmine Pelche reports on what it means for visitors at Waskesiu.
Some have decided not to let a wildfire advisory put an end to their summer plans at Waskesiu.
Staying positive. I live close to the lake. I don't think it's going to be a big deal, but it's scaring away some of the crowd here. You can tell the campground's kind of cleared out. So
we got evacuated out of Waiakwan Lake a couple days ago, so we're just here finishing up a little bit of a vacation.
Shortly after 6 p.m. on Sunday, Parks Canada issued a wildfire emergency advisory for Prince Albert National Park. The advisory says the Bull wildfire is 40 kilometers from Waskesiu and that this fire has potential to cause emergency situations for the public, including deteriorating air quality and visibility. Residents and visitors are asked to prepare for evacuation if required.
We were supposed to stay here till tomorrow, but we decided to go home today to Saskatoon and stuff.
As of this morning, the bullfire is 35,000 hectares. The SPSA released an update that the fire has entered on the northeast corner of the park and resulted in a road closure on Highway 916. Environment Canada says those in the area shouldn't expect the smoke to go away anytime soon.
It doesn't look like we're seeing a lot of change in where that smoke is going over the next little while, so it's something to keep in mind. We are going to be seeing that smoke. There's a lot of smoke in the air, and it's looking to continue for the next little while as we make our way through the rest of the work week.
Including the bullfire, there are currently 55 active wildfires in Saskatchewan, 12 of which are not contained. Jasmine Pelche, CTV News, Waskesiu.
SGI Canada is bringing in a private tactical wildfire team to help protect properties in northern Saskatchewan. It comes as hundreds of homes have been lost to wildfires so far this season. CTV's Stacey Hine has the details.
Last week, Cindy Bottrell had to leave her home in a moment's notice as wildfires got closer to the village of Beauval.
It was like panic mode right away because we were trying to stay back, but then no, they said we got to go, and then Now we left with our cat.
Wildfire Defense System says when people are evacuating their homes, last-minute fire prevention isn't top of mind. That's where its crews step in. The private firm is hired by insurance companies to protect insured properties in areas near wildfires. It says crews move combustibles away from homes, clean out gutters, and tape up openings in the home.
The majority of wildfire structures burn from the inside out, not from the outside in. Embers get into the structure and they will then catch fire. We work very hard to seal up a house to make sure that there is no place for an ember to get in.
WDS says crews don't fight fires. They step away once they've done everything they can. After the fire moves through, they return to check on properties and put out hotspots, adding it has a 99% survival rate for properties it responds to. SGI Canada recently started contracting WDS with crews on the ground in Beauval.
There is no additional cost to SGI Canada customers for this service. It is included as an added layer of protection with their current coverage.
SGI Canada says so far this year, there are 600 to 700 wildfire-related claims regarding evacuations, total losses, and smoke damage. It says it's too early to tell how this wildfire season will affect insurance rates. Meanwhile, WDS stresses the importance of homeowners making their own homes fire safe. As for Patrell, she watches and worries for her community.
Hopefully the fires don't go through the community.
Stacey Hine, CTV News, Saskatoon.
SaskTel is providing some relief to wildfire evacuees. Until July 31st, the Crown Corporation will automatically waive all wireless data overage charges for customers living in communities that have been evacuated due to wildfires. Customers will also be credited for their SaskTel Internet, Max TV Stream, and home phone services. The supports currently apply to people from the communities of Beauval, English River First Nation, including La Plonge and Pachinak, Lac La Plonge, Jans Bay, and Kiniseo. SaskTel adding that the eligible communities may change over the coming days as the wildfire situation is evolving quickly. Well, Jeff, that smoke was definitely noticeable throughout the day.
No kidding. And Saskatoon looks like it's going to get a break from the smoke. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like that's going to be the case for Prince Albert. We'll have more on that later. I know we want rain in the north and in central parts of the province, but they are getting rain in the south. And the Southland needs it too. And so swift current pretty much on again, off again throughout the day. Fairly consistent rain in Moose Jaw and Yorkton, a little less consistency for Regina, but rain definitely in southern Saskatchewan. And we'll talk about whether or not there's going to be rain tomorrow in just a little bit.
A Saskatchewan company won't be recycling Saskatchewan tires after the latest processing rights were given to an out-of-province company. As Keenan Storicon explains, it's the latest development in a lengthy dispute.
This makes no sense.
SureCom President Shane Olson is still trying to wrap his head around the province awarding an Ontario company to be the northern scrap tire processor. The Tire Stewardship of Saskatchewan, which is responsible for managing recycled tires, says Imterra Tire Recycling will build a plant near Saskatoon and be operational mid-2026.
Anybody can drive by a tire store and they'll see a pile of tires. Some retailers have 2, 3, 4 semi-loads of tires.
The agreement is the latest in a multi-year saga that saw SureCom go from being the only tire recycler to being shut out of the process entirely. Now Olson says SureCom's $20 million plant it rebuilt in 2017 will remain idle as a California company in southern Saskatchewan and an out-of-province company in northern Saskatchewan ship tires to be recycled elsewhere.
This is a huge step backwards, and that has come to a detriment of the community, the economy, and of course, the environment.
SureCom laid off dozens of people when the TSS sought a second tire processor in the province in 2022. More layoffs were needed as negotiations with the stewardship didn't gain any traction since then. Saskatchewan NDP says it's also having trouble following the province's line of thinking.
Our tires are going to go to California, they're going to go to Ontario, they're going to go to those plants, they're going to help promote those jobs, and the profits attached to these contracts are also leaving this province.
Since Surecom's plant was shut down, tires have been piling up at a yard in Clavette. Emterra has agreed to remove them, but the TSS didn't say how long that would take. The Environment Ministry responsible for the TSS declined to comment, and none of CTV's calls or messages with the TSS were answered on Monday. Surecom is suing the province for at least $10 million in damages, believing it was excluded from the RFP process and that negotiations were predetermined and agreed upon behind closed doors. Keenan Sorakan, CTV News, Saskatoon.
The case against a man charged with first-degree murder in a Saskatoon homicide will not be proceeding as planned. Taylor Picoquat was facing a charge of first-degree murder in the death of Nicholas Bell. Bell was found suffering from a gunshot wound in the back alley of the 2700 block of 21st Street in December of 2023. He was taken to hospital but died of his injuries. The Crown says the case does not meet the standard of reasonable likelihood of conviction and has decided to stay the charge against Picoquat. The Crown has 1 year to resume with prosecution if new evidence comes to light in the case. Saskatoon police are looking for the driver of a vehicle involved in a hit and run that left a motorcyclist seriously injured. Police say it happened last night at about 10:30 at the intersection of Attridge Drive and Barini Drive. It's believed a Honda Accord hit the motorcycle before leaving the scene, striking a light pole and traffic sign, and then getting stuck on a roundabout. The driver of the vehicle ran from the car and the scene while holding a dog. The 27-year-old motorcycle rider was taken to hospital with serious injuries. A man who was wanted by Saskatoon police in connection to a violent sexual assault has died while serving time at Saskatchewan Penitentiary. 42-year-old Matthew Scoville was serving a 2-year, 7-month sentence that began in May. The Correctional Service of Canada says he died Friday but did not provide any details. Scoville was the subject of a police manhunt last October following an aggravated and sexual assault investigation that saw a heavy police presence in a few Saskatoon neighborhoods. A review into the circumstances of Scoville's death will be conducted, which is routine when an inmate dies in custody. Prince Albert police are asking for help to solve a homicide case from 7 years ago. Jordan Ballantyne was found in the backyard of a home in Prince Albert the night of July 13th, 2018. He died of his injuries at the scene. Family members told CTV News his autopsy showed he was stabbed 3 times in the stomach. Police are asking anyone with information to come forward. Calls are growing louder, demanding answers about why the head of the RCMP in Saskatchewan was removed from her role. Wayne Mantika has the latest on Rhonda Blackmore and why officials are calling for transparency around the move.
Over a month has now passed since Rhonda Blackmore was relieved of command of RCMP F Division without public explanation. Now a Regina MP is seeking answers.
Well, I just think it's totally unacceptable for Ms. Blackmore's reputation and career to be ruined as a result of anonymous complaints. So I feel that it's time for the Minister of Public Safety to come clean and to start providing some answers, not only for Ms. Blackmore, but for the general public as well.
So far, there has been no response from the RCMP or the federal government. Earlier, the Saskatchewan government wrote to the Federal Minister of Public Safety.
The concern that was raised was quite simply that we lost our commanding officer of F Division and have very few details around that, and it's been quite some time since that removal.
Blackmore has since been reassigned as Assistant Commissioner for Indigenous and Support Services. The FSIN has called for her reinstatement in Saskatchewan.
We hope they reinstate her or bring her back to us where she can have that relationship. Maybe having her in these detachments, overseeing these investigations to communicate with First Nations. Right now, there's mistrust.
The MP for Regina Wascana hopes he gets an explanation from the federal minister. But if not, Michael Cram says he will pursue the issue in Parliament. Wayne Mantika, CTV News, Regina.
Thousands of Rider fans were left in the dark Friday night as smoke lingered over the Queen City. Almost 4 hours after the game was supposed to start, officials made the call to postpone the game. As McFavel reports, it left some feeling the situation could have been better handled.
Over the weekend at Mosaic Stadium, fans held their breath for one of the biggest games of the season, waiting hours for the action to begin, only to be told to come back the next day. Kickoff was originally scheduled for 7 p.m. on Friday, but because of smoke moving from the west and the air quality index not budging, players were prevented from taking the field.
We want to get the football game played. So our intent was to wait as long as possible to try to make that happen, with the belief that even with the reduced wind speed and knowing what had happened to the west of us, that it was going to clear. Unfortunately, it just sat there.
The game was eventually called off around 10:45 and rescheduled for 2 p.m. the next day. A tight turnaround for everyone involved, including the host at Real, who were able to get the venue ready for another game less than 24 hours later. Through a statement to CTV News, Real said, "From venue operations and concessions to clean crews and event logistics, our staff worked late into the night and returned early the next morning, fully committed to delivering an exceptional fan experience." Although the game went ahead as planned on Saturday, the fans in the stands may have taken the biggest hit, with a notable drop in attendance for Part 2. Some feeling there could have been better communication the night before.
The updates were a little sparse, to be honest. People were just kind of sitting and waiting, and we're checking our phone, and the index was super high, so we were kind of like putting the pieces together ourselves.
From 7 to 10 p.m. Friday night, key stakeholders had their eyes on the air quality index, waiting for it to drop, even willing to push the game close to midnight, but conditions never improved enough to play. In a statement, the CFL says its weather protocol outlined procedures for in-game delays, but there is no time limit specified for games that have not started yet, adding they will continue to review and adjust policies and protocols as needed. Mick Favel, CTV News, Regina.
Saskatchewan's largest country festival, Country Thunder, is wrapped up for another year. As Sierra D'Souza Butts tells us, despite a lower attendance and smoky conditions, people say the 4-day event still hit all the right notes.
For 30 years, Janice Halabura has attended Country Thunder Saskatchewan because of the community that comes with it.
We enjoy being together. We are traditionally always in the gold site. We enjoy our site. We can actually get out. We don't get stuck.
After 4 days of the province's largest country music festival, people are packing up and hauling out. Over the course of the weekend, close to 20 musicians performed, ranging from local talent like the Hunter Brothers and Jess Moskaluke to headliners Bailey Zimmerman and Def Leppard.
Over the years, I mean, the entertainers have changed, but overall, I think it was a successful year.
I wouldn't say it was one of my most favorite years to come to Country Thunder in terms of the acts, but Def Leppard put on a hell of a show, though.
Country Thunder says about 21,000 people attended this year, down from 25,000 last year.
Definitely less people. The last few years, I think attendance is going down. There's a lot of empty campsites out in Silver, and I think the price has a lot to do with it. Prices are up every year.
Organizers say they have noticed a trend in people purchasing single tickets rather than weekend passes, adding people often wait until the last minute to see what the weather will be like.
In the past, they've announced the headliners, and I wish they'd go back to that because they're losing a lot of people because of that, because you don't find out till January.
Organizers say they book artists a year in advance to provide something for everyone. Traditional country music with a blend of rock is expected for next year's big event, but for some, the lineup doesn't matter.
I already renewed. I already bought 6 tickets at my campsite, so I'm back next year.
Lumsden RCMP responded to 156 calls throughout the festival, laying 4 criminal impaired driving charges and 40 roadside suspensions, along with 2 assault charges and 1 mischief charge related to property damage. Sierra D'Souza Butts, CTV News, Craven.
A unique camp celebrated its 10th anniversary this weekend. Champs Camp supports children in Saskatchewan with heart conditions, providing kids aged 4 to 17 with opportunities to take part in sports and other physical activity. The camp started thanks to a group of parents of pediatric cardiology patients who saw a need to get their kids more involved in physical activities.
It's just a week-long summer camp, but really I get to see that when they come for their appointments and checkups, they live that day-to-day in their regular lives. They go back to gym class and they say, no, I can do this.
They have rock climbing, they have like swimming, sibling games. It's just so great. I like it and it's kind of fun.
Organizers say they are hopeful to see the program expand to other provinces in the future. Still to come, why the Conservative leader is in attack mode against the Prime Minister. Also, the U.S. President gives an ultimatum to Vladimir Putin. You're watching CTV News live from downtown Saskatoon. Thanks for staying with us. Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre was in attack mode today, going after the Prime Minister for promises made about his financial assets and potential conflict of interest. Mark Carney has now disclosed a fuller picture of his investments to the Ethics Commissioner. Judy Trin reports.
There is a cornucopia of conflicts of interest in these investments.
The Conservative leader is raising concerns about the Prime Minister's business dealings in his past life. Before entering politics, Mark Carney sat on the boards of Brookfield Asset Management and Stripe, a credit card software company. He has millions of dollars of assets in the two companies, which he put in a blind trust.
I comply with my responsibilities. I comply with the rules well in advance.
New disclosures filed by Carney to the Ethics Commissioner revealed that Brookfield and Stripe own or control more than 100 other corporations, including clean energy businesses and real estate.
The list of potential conflicts goes on and on. How can he possibly be involved in developing a budget when all the tax policies could impact on his investments directly or indirectly?
The Commissioner's office says the Prime Minister's Chief of Staff, Marc-André Blanchard, and Privy Council Clerk, Michael Sabia, will be in charge of screening Carney's government decisions, which Carney says will prevent him from giving preferential treatment to any of the companies while he exercises his official powers and duties.
As long as they're invested in businesses while they're in public office, their investments will taint every decision and cause them to make decisions in their own interests, even if they claim not to be doing that.
Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre says the only way to ensure that the Prime Minister won't breach his ethical guidelines is for Mark Carney to sell all his assets, then hand over control of the funds to a trustee to invest. Judy Trin, CTV News, Ottawa.
Rising tensions with Russia after Donald Trump sent Vladimir Putin a pointed message today threatening 100% tariffs if the war in Ukraine isn't resolved within the next 50 days. The U.S. president also revealed a deal to supply weapons to Kyiv through NATO. Abigail Beeman reports.
I think this is a chance at getting peace.
A bold claim and a big threat.
But we're very, very unhappy with them, and we're going to be doing very severe tariffs if we don't have a deal in 50 days. Tariffs at about 100%.
U.S. President Donald Trump hosted NATO top boss Mark Rutte in the Oval Office, promising billions in military equipment, including Patriot missile defense systems purchased from the U.S. by NATO allies.
Germany, massively, but also Finland and Denmark and Sweden and Norway, the United Kingdom, the Netherlands, Canada. They all want to be part of this.
The Patriot system is viewed as kind of being a top tier one. So not just that he's going to provide support, which is a change in and of itself, but also that he's going to provide support with pretty advanced weaponry is beneficial.
Just ahead of the Oval Office meeting, President Volodymyr Zelensky hosted the U.S. Special Envoy for Ukraine in Kyiv.
Very positive for both countries, and just now we spoke about air defense.
You wouldn't want to be Zelensky in this because you don't know which day, the United States is going to support you. But it's a good news story for helping them thwart the advance.
In terms of sanctions, Russia has already been hit hard, and U.S.-Russia trade is way down. But experts say secondary tariffs on other Russian buyers would make a difference.
When you see the largest importers of China and India being pummeled, that's where it's really going to hit Russia.
Separately, there is a U.S. Senate bill that looks at imposing 500% secondary tariffs on Russia. Trump said today that may not be necessary. Abigail Beeman, CTV News, Ottawa.
Measles cases in the province of Alberta have surpassed the number in all of the United States. The case number in Alberta sits at 1,314 after 30 new cases were diagnosed over the weekend. There have not been any deaths from measles in Alberta since the outbreak in March. Canada saw a steep increase in obesity rates during the COVID-19 pandemic, particularly among young adults. According to new research published in the Canadian Medical Association Journal, between 2020 and 2023, obesity rates rose more than 1% point a year compared to 8% over the first 11 years of the study. The study's author says the findings suggest that public health restrictions likely had an impact on obesity rates, but says further study is needed to better understand the causes for the increase and how they can be prevented in the future. All right, Jeff, it was a good day to stay indoors if you could, but hopefully tomorrow the smoke will be just that much better.
Yes, things are looking like they're going to be improving in a much larger area than they were maybe an hour or two ago. Things are looking much better for the Prince Albert region, as I said, than earlier today. But let's take a look and see what we've got going on with our numbers. We're going to bring them up for you right now. Currently in Saskatoon, 18 degrees, a little bit warmer in Prince Albert and the Battlefords. Both those locations sit at 20 degrees. And as you can see, a little breezier in Prince Albert and the Battlefords than it is in Saskatoon, with all dealing with northerly winds, so, you know, pushing that smoke down towards us from the northern wildfires. 18 degrees for Saskatoon's high today, so it's well below the seasonal average of 25 for this time of July. 38, the record warm temperature on this date in 1947. The record cold temperature of 4 shared in 2 years. That's 1904 and 1912. The sun came up at 5:03. It's going to go down at 9:22.
Coming up, an extraordinary day for a young Saskatchewan man. How one First Nation helped his dream come true.
All right, welcome back. Well, look at that. It says a lot right there. Just still a very smoky sky here in Saskatoon. We're dealing with the, very high risk when it comes to our air quality. So that being said, let's take a look and see what our satellite and radar shot indicates. So once again, I mentioned the fact that across Alberta, Saskatchewan, Manitoba, into Ontario, actually on both sides of the Rockies, we're dealing with this area of active rain. And it's been fairly consistent down in southern Saskatchewan, on again, off again for places like Swift Current, but a more consistent pattern once it started showing up in places like Moose Jaw and Yorkton, a little less so in Regina. Now, that rain is likely going to continue into tomorrow, or at least a secondary system moving in. 18 degrees for Saskatoon, 20 for Prince Albert and the Battlefords as we stand. And then as we take a look at our hot spot, that was Coronach today at 23 degrees. Stony Rapids, the cold spot at 2, a chilly 2 degrees. Around the province we go, 18 degrees right now in Lloydminster, 14 in Swift Current, 16 in Moose Jaw and Regina, 15 in Yorkton, but 21 in Estevan. In central parts of Saskatchewan and the northern grain belt, temperatures ranging from 15 degrees in Melfort up to 20 in the Battlefords, but most locations in and around that 16 or 17 degree mark. Up north, well, not much cooler, 12 degrees in Collins Bay, but 15 in Stony Rapids and La Ronge and Sandy Bay Island Falls, 16 in Buffalo Narrows. And down south, again, no big jump up here. Temperatures all in the teens with the exception of Carlisle, where it's expected, where it is right now, 22 degrees. So coolish temperatures for mid-July. So here's our future cast. And as I mentioned, there's another system sort of sliding through, and that could, if it moves a little further north, we might see a bit more in the way of precipitation for parts of southern Saskatchewan. But right now, it looks like it's sliding mostly into parts of Montana and the Dakotas. Around the province we go for tomorrow. So temperatures basically hanging around 21 degrees for northern Saskatchewan with a mix of sky conditions. A similar pattern for west central Saskatchewan with mainly cloudy skies in Spiritwood, Kindersley, and Rosetown. A bit more sunshine and 21 degrees for Meadow Lake. Temperatures hanging around 18 degrees for the southwestern part of our province with cloudy or mainly cloudy skies. Again, not much difference in the southeast. 20 degrees in Yorkton, but 18 for Regina and Moose Jaw, 19 in Estevan. And into central Saskatchewan, or east central Saskatchewan, 19 for Melfort and Watrous, 18 for Humboldt, 21 for Hudson Bay. The overnight temperature for the Battlefords, a little less cloud, but there's still some smoke hanging around, 6 degrees, and then 20 degrees tomorrow. And then on Wednesday, 22, and then warming up to 25 by Friday, Saturday, 24, but cooling off as we anticipate showers and thunderstorms for Sunday and Monday in the Battlefords region. In Prince Albert tonight, the overnight temperature, this has changed. It was going to be a lot nastier, but this has changed within the last hour. Environment Canada updating its smoke air quality index forecast, 7 degrees overnight, and the AQ index on the moderate side of things. It might actually be low in the early early part of tomorrow morning in the afternoon, but then it'll slide back into the moderate level. Temperature slowly warming up to above seasonal values as we head in towards the weekend, but showers and rain showers with a chance of thunderstorms expected on Sunday and Monday. In Saskatoon, 7 degrees, less cloudy conditions. The AQ index clearing up a little bit, less of a risk tomorrow. 22 on Wednesday, warming up to 25 on Friday, 24 on Saturday, but temperatures of 23 and 22 respectively on Sunday and Monday, with a chance of showers and a risk of a thunderstorm on both days. An iconic performance at London's Wembley Stadium back in the day as part of Live Aid. The event celebrating its 40th anniversary was held to raise money for famine relief in Africa. In addition to the stage in London, where there were also performances in Philadelphia, and the event, which lasted for 16 hours, raised $125 million and was aired live on television worldwide, including here in Canada on Much Music.
Question myself in the same situation and consider the consequences.
People were going to die. The new Superman reboot soared to #1 at the weekend box office. The superhero film brought in $122 million US across North America. It was the first in the franchise featuring David Corenswet as the Man of Steel. Last week's #1, Jurassic World Rebirth, slid to second with $40 million in ticket sales. F1 was in third with $13 million.
Millennium 2.0. This is it. This is behind the scenes. The camera's not going to see that.
The Backstreet Boys are marking a big milestone. The boy band is celebrating the Millennium 2.0 album. It's the 25th anniversary record. They shared some behind-the-scenes footage of their recent photo shoot. The pop group also kicked off a 6-week residency at the Sphere in Las Vegas this weekend.
All right, Jeff, time for Pick of the Day. What do you have?
Well, we got 3 interesting ones here. We're going to start off with this one. I love this. It is it's from Leslie, and this is, she just simply says, "This fella spotted at the Chapel Marsh south on Saskatoon on Sunday." Leslie, I'm not sure if it's a man or a woman, but thank you, Leslie, for sending us in that photo. And next one comes to us from Neil. And Neil says, "Hi, Jeff. I've driven past this old barn north of Aberdeen for many years. Every year it leans over a bit more. I thought I'd better photograph the barn before it leans over all the way." And we're very glad, but what a beautiful shot. I love shots of old barns, and that one's very interesting in a canola field like that. Real nice shot there, Neil. And finally, this is from me. This is a birthday wish is going out to a friend of mine, Brad Sweeney. I'm not sure how old he is, but we met many, many years ago when we worked at TVS, the video superstore. He's one of my best friends and a great guy, also a super uncle. So I trust your birthday was a good one. So if you'd like to share an image with us and send out birthday greetings or say hello or just show us some critters or a sunset or something like that, send it to cfqcnews@ctv.ca.
Still to come on CTV News, crowning the best softball team in the world. But up next, a day to remember for one Saskatchewan resident. Saturday was an extraordinary day for Nick Fraser. For one day, the young man who lives with Down syndrome became chief of the Cody First Nation. Regina DeClute has the story.
He's been given that Cody medallion. That means he has a key to the reserve. Yeah, you can go anywhere you want, any of these.
Nick Fraser is the honorary chief of Cody First Nation for one day.
The children are so special, and the ones with disabilities, we want to make it known that we never forgot them.
Co-Chief Fraser, who has Down syndrome, put in his name for the chance at the 2025 Snoworama Silent Auction, which raises money for programs helping people with disabilities in Saskatchewan.
And Nicholas was the fortunate winner of that because it is an opportunity of lifetime for someone like Nick to have be in a position to get to participate alongside Chief George.
Nick Jake paid for the auction entry out of his own pocket, taking his day as chief on Saturday during Cody First Nations annual powwow.
I'm here today, and it must be safe money for Camp Easter Seal.
The main program Snoworama supports is Camp Easter Seal near Watrous.
Because it's a camp where they are looked after. There's medical staff, there's counselors, there's everything that you could ever want, just like a camp that these guys would be able to go to. And it's wheelchair accessible. They take care of diets. They take care of all of their needs.
The title of chief is one that Chief George Cody was happy to share for a good cause.
It's such an honor, and to see Nick so happy and smiling, knowing that he's going to be chief of Cody First Nation for the day.
This was Cody First Nation's first time offering the experience, but not the last, because this heartwarming day is a powerful reminder that inclusion and recognition matter. Frugina Daklut, CTV News, Cody First Nation.
When we come back, a world softball champion is crowned in Prince Albert. Then Brits by the Bez celebrates a major milestone.
All right, welcome back. Before we talk about the rural forecast, just an update on the air quality index. It has improved in Saskatoon, is now on the moderate risk part of the scale, even though those pictures through Skycam looked a little foreboding. But still, it's at 10 high risk in Prince Albert. So, and that's probably true of many areas once we get into northern Saskatchewan or in and around the Lakeland region. So this is what we're looking at tomorrow, though. We're looking at mainly sunny skies in Meadow Lake, Lloydminster 19. So hopefully the air quality will improve because now it's expected to. So this is what the numbers are looking like. Temperatures basically around 19 or 20 degrees as we make our way into Tuesday, and it doesn't look as though there's much in the way of rain, although we could really use it. Down south, a similar temperature pattern, not much variation here for the most part, around 18 or 19 degrees. East End, 14 degrees likely, and 16 for Rockland because some rain is coming through the area and going to cool things off. And so let's take a look and see what's going on in Grenfell. Grenfell tomorrow, mainly cloudy skies, 18 degrees and winds out of the northeast at 20. And Grenfell is where internet plans of up to 1 gig are available from SaskTel.
A world men's softball champion was crowned in Prince Albert this weekend. Venezuela defeated New Zealand in the final of the WBSC Men's Softball World Cup, the country's first World Cup title in any category. 3 Venezuelan pitchers combined to shut out the New Zealand team, including tournament MVP Miker Pimentel, who left midway through the game with an ankle injury, but returned to finish it in the final inning. The U.S. defeated Japan in the bronze medal game. Canada finished 5th of the 8 teams taking part in the event. Once the Ryder game was finally played following Friday's postponement, it was one to forget for the green and white.
Adams' career high, 488 yards. He's 5 shy of 300, and he's got Alford wide open down the field, and now the race is on to the 20, to the 10. See you later.
The Riders are no longer undefeated, falling 24-10 to the Stampeders. Vernon Adams Jr. led the way with nearly 430 yards passing for Calgary. Riders head coach Corey Mace keeping things blunt after the game, saying the team came out flat and never really recovered. Rising precious metals shares helped to lift Canada's benchmark stock index to a new record high today. Andrew Bell explains.
Hello there. Toronto's bellwether stock index ended at a new record high today, just below 27,200, even though oil and oil stocks slipped. The Canadian market was boosted by miners as silver traded above $38 US an ounce, near the highest in 14 years. Some investors have switched to the metal as an alternative to gold, which is near record highs. Stocks edged higher on Wall Street after U.S. President Donald Trump indicated that he's open to trade negotiations. Meta Platforms rose. The CEO, Mark Zuckerberg, says his company is building massive data centers to power artificial intelligence. On the markets, the Canadian dollar changed hands at 73 cents US, down a fraction. West Texas Intermediate oil was at $66.89, down $1.56. Our fixed on Western Canadian Select oil has it at $56.47, up $1.47. And the TSX Composite ended at 27,198.85, up just under 176 points to a new record close. That's the latest in business. I'm Andrew Bell of BNN Bloomberg.
Turning to local gas prices now, the average price in Saskatoon is currently $1.34 a litre. The lowest price in town, $1.199. On Saskatchewan markets, Cameco finished the day at $102.91. Nutrien was up 5 cents. Coming up, a one-of-a-kind event for classic car lovers. Then a Saskatchewan favorite returns to the skies.
Hey there, Derek Chesney here at the Saskatoon Crime Stoppers. This week on Crime Stoppers Unmasked, we're looking for the public's assistance in identifying those responsible for a homicide in the Confederation Park neighborhood of Saskatoon. On April 15th, 2024, just after 4 a.m., Saskatoon police were called to a home on Chandler Place following a 911 call about an injured man. When they arrived, they found 31-year-old Gregory Moose Hunter Jr. suffering from severe head injuries caused by blunt force trauma. He was in critical condition and rushed to the hospital by ambulance. Through investigation, police learned that Gregory had been at a gathering inside a detached garage on Chandler Place. At some point during the party, a group of males confronted him, and he was brutally assaulted with the weapon. Despite his injuries, Gregory was able to escape and make it to a nearby residence to seek help. Gregory fought for his life for nearly 3 weeks, but on May 3rd, he died from the injuries he sustained that night. Do you have information about this violent homicide or who is responsible? If so, please give us a call at 1-800-222-8477 or leave a tip online at SaskatoonCrimeStoppers.com. We pay cash rewards of up to $2,000 for information about this crime. Tips are completely anonymous. We don't want your name, we just want your assistance. Saskatoon Crime Stoppers. Do your part to stop crime in our community.
Select Hair Service is brought to you by Sage, the beauty bar.
Well, the 25th annual Brits by the Bez car show returned to Saskatoon over the weekend. Classic vehicles showcased outside of the Besborough Hotel for the public to check out. This is the Saskatchewan British Car Club's biggest event of the year, bringing together car lovers from across North America. Many say it's a passion they're hoping to pass on to the next generation.
We're hoping to get more of the young people involved because we're getting older and we want to see these vehicles and the history of them maintained. So the only way to do that is to bring up the next generation, teach them about the vehicles so they can take care of them.
I love working on these cars. I love spinning wrenches, just hanging out with everybody, especially my grandpa.
This year, 94 vehicles were showcased in Brits by the Bez.
And that was a gorgeous day to be out, checking out cars and just being out.
Very pleasant, for sure. All right, well, the Canadian Forces Snowbirds are in the swing of their summer tour schedule, but were able to make a stop near their home base. The Snowbirds held an air show in front of a sellout crowd at the Moose Jaw Municipal Airport on Saturday. Ahead of their annual show season, the team often uses the airport's airspace for practice. In return, this show helped the airport build a new grass runway. It's also the first show for the squadron's new commanding officer, a former Snowbird pilot himself. The Snowbirds also did a flyover at Country Thunder on Saturday. Their only scheduled dates in the province this season, BC and Alberta, are next on the schedule. They never disappoint either.
No. Back in the day, Moose Jaw used to have the biggest one-day air show in North America.
Yeah.
It was massive.
Yeah.
It's cool. Anyhow, I digress. Let's take a look at tomorrow's situation with regard to the forecast. And I'm going to keep our eyes on the air quality index. It's actually low during the morning and the early afternoon, but in the mid-afternoon, it starts to get a little less, get a little worse is what I'm getting at. And so by the time we get to 6 o'clock, it'll probably be on the high part of the scale.
All right, that is our show. Thanks for watching.